Today, we are looking at 4 new AI updates that are quietly reshaping how films are made, from improved visuals and higher resolution to entire 3D worlds you can explore. There's a lot packed on this video, so please stay with me. Now let's start with the first update, which I believe is very key for the future of filmmaking. LTX just released something called HDR output for AI-generated video. And more specifically, it can now generate 16-bit HDR footage. For those who don't know, HDR simply means high dynamic range, which is a way of saying the image can hold more detail in both the bright and dark areas at the same time. Now, if that sounds too technical, let me break it down for you. For as long as AI video has existed, every video you have generated has been an 8-bit file, which means the quality is perfectly fine for social media and web content. But the moment you try to color grade that footage the way you would a normal video shoot with a professional cinema camera, it starts to fall apart. And if you try to bring that footage into a professional production setup alongside traditionally filmed material, the gap in quality is immediately obvious. But that's changing with this new HDR feature. What LTX is now doing is generating your video with far more image information. In simple terms, you are no longer working with a compressed video file, but something much closer to what comes out of a cinema camera. It can even export your footage as high-quality EXR image sequence, which is the same format used in professional VFX pipeline. Now I feel like dancing. So what that means for you is simple. You now have more room to push your colors, recover details in bright and dark areas, and actually treat AI footage like real production footage. And this is the key part. For the first time, you can take AI-generated footage and place it side by side with footage shot on a real camera in the same timeline and work on both together without the AI footage falling apart. Your AI videos can now be graded much closer to how footage from a high-end cinema camera behaves. The highlights breathe, the shadows hold details, and the dynamic range is there to work with. Now let's be clear, this isn't just for color grading alone. You can now bring AI footage into After Effects, Nuke, Fusion, or any professional VFX application, and it holds up much closer to traditionally filmed footage. Now, if that's not making you sit up, let me paint a picture that might give you some perspective. If you've watched shows like House of David or The Mandalorian, you will know that a lot of this production use something called an LED volume. In simple terms, they build a massive screen, design and display the backgrounds on it, get the actors on stage, and then shoot. It's an incredible technique, but designing those backgrounds, even using Unreal Engine, takes considerable time and resources. With this new HDR feature, you can now use AI to generate those backgrounds and put them up on the LED wall, and the quality will actually hold. That's the level of disruption we are talking about. Now, there's a question I want us to sit with because of this. But before I ask it, let me share the second update because it ties directly back to this. Kling AI just released native 4K video generation. And please note, this is not an upscaled 1080p. This is generated pixel by pixel from the ground up, which gives you cleaner images, sharper edges, and finer detail in every frame you generate. Now pair that with the HDR release from LTX and the picture starts to become very clear. Which brings me to the question I want to ask. If we can now generate HDR AI videos that fit seamlessly into any professional post-production workflow and generate those videos in native 4K, and perhaps before the year is out, we are looking at native 8K or even 12K resolution. So what then is the future of video cameras? Will they eventually become obsolete? I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this. Kindly drop them in the comments so we can all learn and grow together. Before we continue, I want to quickly share something with you. This episode is sponsored by Musicful. Musicful is a platform that allows you to create your own AI music from scratch. All you have to do is input your lyrics, describe the style you are going for, and it generates a full track for you. But it goes beyond just audio. You can also create music videos directly on the platform. All you need to do is upload your song, describes the kind of visuals you want, and it builds out a complete storyboard for you, which is then used to generate the final video. You can even upload a character reference if you want a consistent character to appear throughout your video, which is a really useful touch if you are trying to tell a story or build a visual identity. Now, this is a video it generated for me based on my song and the description I gave. And what I like about this process is that you are not locked in. If there's any scene you are not happy with, you can go back, adjust the prompt for that specific part, and regenerate that section. So you still have creative control over the final output. From start to finish, creating this 37-second clip took about 3,000 credits. So if you are looking for a platform to create AI music and turn it into a full video, you can check them out at musicful.ai. Now let's get back to the updates. Now we've talked about video quality, HDR and native 4K. But what about something bigger? What about generating entire 3D worlds with AI? NVIDIA just released Lyra 2.0, and to understand why this matters, let me explain a problem that has always existed with AI-generated environments. When you try to create a 3D world using AI, a room, a street, a landscape, the AI can generate it, but the moment you try to move through it, things start to fall apart. Rooms don't connect properly, objects shift, and the environment doesn't stay consistent. NVIDIA's Lyra 2.0 solves that problem. It takes a single photograph, just one image, and turns it into a full 3D world you can actually walk through. You can walk through it, change direction, come back to areas you've already seen, and everything stays exactly as it was. And what's fascinating is that it can generate environment up to 90 meters in scale. That is pretty crazy when you think about it. But let me bring this down into simpler terms. As a filmmaker or 3D artist, it simply means you could take a photo of a street, a forest, or a film location, feed it into Lyra 2, and it creates a fully explorable 3D version of that world for you. A world you can walk through, navigate, and use as a reference or a production asset. Now, before we move on, let me show you the tool that makes all of this even more powerful. World Labs is a company founded by some of the brightest minds behind some of the biggest AI breakthroughs of the last decade. And they just open source Spark 2.0. In case you are not familiar with World Lab, it's a platform that allows you to create 3D worlds, environments you can fly through and move around in just like a real 3D space. But today, we are looking specifically at Spark 2.0, and let me explain why this update is huge. When you create a 3D world using AI, it generates what are called Gaussian splats. Don't worry about the technical terms, just think of it as millions of tiny floating data points that together makes up a three-dimensional image. The more of those points you have, the more detailed and realistic your world looks. The problem until now is that rendering all of those points in real time required expensive, powerful hardware. A normal computer or phone simply couldn't handle it. But Spark 2.0 changes that completely. It can now stream and render 100 million of those data points directly in any web browser or any device. Yes, any device. Your phone, your laptop, or even a VR headset, with no special hardware required. Which means the kind of photorealistic 3D world rendering that was previously only possible in expensive production pipeline is now something anyone with a browser can access, and it's completely open source. Now, earlier, we talked about LED volumes and how they are used in professional filmmaking, and the kind of software required to build those virtual worlds. The challenge has always been the time, technical skills, and computing power needed to create environments that can actually hold up on those screens. But when you place what NVIDIA and World Lab have just released alongside everything we've talked about so far, a much bigger picture begins to emerge. You now have HDR videos that holds up in post-production, native 4K generation built from the ground up, and fully explorable 3D worlds that can be created from a single image. When you connect all of this together, you start to see the kind of possibilities this opens up, and just how quickly the future of filmmaking is beginning to shift. Now, if you want to try NVIDIA Lyra 2, it's open source and completely free. The code is available on GitHub and Hugging Face right now. And if you want to explore Spark 2.0 without touching any code, you can go straight to wordlabs.ai and start building immediately. It's surprisingly simple to get started. And if you want a full walkthrough on how to use WordLabs to create 3D worlds, I have a dedicated tutorial right here on this channel that breaks it all down for you. I will leave the link to that tutorial in the description. That's it for today. This industry is moving faster than most people realize, and every week I'll be here breaking it down so you know exactly what's changing and what it means for your creative work. If this video gave you something to think about, please show some love, like and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to see how to use these AI tools in a real filmmaking workflow, watch this tutorial right there on your screen. My name is Osacraft. I'll see you in the next one.